third graders. This week we will be working on reading and listening to stories and figuring out their theme. The theme is the lesson or the message that the writer had in mind when they wrote it, the thing they wanted you to learn after you read the story. We're also going to be looking for key details that help us know what the theme is. Finally, we're going to practice our strong paragraph skills and write a paragraph about the themes in a story. First, let's review the difference between a topic and a theme. A topic is usually one or two words, and it is kind of the big thing the story is about. So you could think of the story we read a few weeks ago, Brothers at Bat. That one's topics were baseball. Another topic that was important in that story was family. So you hear how those are one word, big idea words. A theme, on the other hand, is something the author wants you to think about that topic. It's the lesson, or in folktales you could call it the moral. Because a theme is a message or a lesson, it's almost always a whole sentence. So if you thought the topic of Brothers at Bat was family or baseball, you could have the theme sound something like, baseball brings families together. Do you hear how that's a whole sentence telling the lesson of the story or the thing the writer wants you to think about? Let's practice figuring out the theme of a story using a short fable. I'll read it aloud to you first. The Woman, the Wall, and the Vine. A young woman had a beautiful garden and a very old, sick neighbor who lived on the other side of a stone wall. The woman loved gardening and was very proud of her garden. One day she saw a very beautiful vine plant in a catalog and wanted that for her garden. She ordered it and planted it at the base of the stone wall in her backyard. She took great care of the plant, which grew quickly and had beautiful green leaves on it. Months passed, but not a single flower bloomed on the vine. The woman was discouraged. She almost wanted to cut it down. But at that time, her sickly neighbor called and said, "Thank you so much for the beautiful flowers. You have no idea how much I enjoy looking at the blooms of the vine you have planted." Hearing this, the young girl rushed to the neighbor's side of the wall and saw the most beautiful flower in bloom. All the care she had took had paid off. The vine she planted had crept through the crevices in the stone wall. Because of that, it didn't flower on her side of the wall, but it did flower generously on the other side of the wall. To figure out the theme of this story, first I need to start by thinking of an important topic in it. It really feels like this story is about hard work. She took so much care of that plant and she worked so hard, and that's what made the beautiful flowers for her neighbor. So if the topic is hard work, now I need to think about what the author wanted me to learn about hard work after I've read this story. What's the moral or the message? Well, she worked really hard, but in the end, she didn't think her hard work did anything until she realized that her hard work was helping her neighbor. Let's see, what would be one sentence that tells that message in a nice way? Something that sounds like a moral or a lesson from the author. How about, don't get discouraged if your hard work doesn't pay off the way you think it will. You might be doing good in an unexpected way. Now someone might say, "Hey, you're not the author. How do you know that's the story's lesson? How can you be sure of what their message was?" Well, we used key details throughout the story to figure out that message. To prove that your theme matches the story and makes sense as the lesson, you can use those key details to support your thinking. I'm going to do a diagram to show how my thinking worked there. I'll start with my theme at the top of the paper. All right, so that's my theme up at the top. Now I'm going to look for 4 key details that support my theme. They hold it up like a table. So let's make spaces for 4 ideas. Well, the way the story talked about how hard she worked, she took such good care of the plant, it really emphasized that part. So I'll write the woman worked hard to care for her plant. Now, another detail that supports this theme is there was that part where the woman got really discouraged. She was even going to tear the plant down. She was getting so frustrated. That gets to the idea about, oh, don't get discouraged in my theme. So the woman was so discouraged, frustrated, sad, annoyed, that she almost tore down the plant. Oops, I need to put a capital at the beginning of my sentence. Then there was the part where the old woman called to thank. That's that doing good unexpectedly part. If she hadn't planted the plant and took such good care of it, that old woman wouldn't have got the beautiful gift of the flowers. Old woman thanks her for the gift of flowers. And finally, to support that idea of she did good unexpectedly, I'll add the detail about the flowers were on the other side of the wall. She didn't know they were there. Flowers grew on the other side of the wall. Oop, I'm gonna have to write uphill for this one. I didn't leave myself enough space. She didn't know they were there. Okay, so now I've organized my thinking. I've got my theme up here, and I've got my 4 supporting details from the story. Organizing my thinking this way helps me write my paragraph about the themes. So, let's get started. For your opening sentence, your introduction, you want to tell the reader the theme of the story. So that's what my first sentence will do. I'm going to make sure I include the title of the story so that my reader will know what I'm talking about. In the story, titles get underlined when you're writing. The woman, the vine, and the wall the author teaches us. So I introduced the story, and now I'm telling the reader what the message was. The author teaches us that I'm really just going to take this right here and put it in my introduction sentence now, because this is already in my own words. Whew, that was a long sentence, but it's a very strong introduction because it tells the title and shares the message of the story, the lesson and the theme. The body of your paragraph, those juicy details, that's going to be all of your supporting details that proved that this was the message. So I'm just going to keep writing my key details across the page, and I'm going to just tell them in the order they were here. When I jotted my ideas down here, I already put them in my own words, so I don't have to worry about plagiarism. Make sure when you're writing this, you use your words, not the author's words. All right, so let's get writing. Finally, we need a closing sentence. When you're writing about the theme of a story, your closing sentence should remind the reader what the message of the story was, keeping it the same flavor as your introduction. Remember, your introduction and your closing sentence should always be connected. But here, in the closing sentence, you get to go big again. Tell your reader why this theme was important enough that the writer wrote a whole story about it. How would learning this lesson help your reader in their life? So, my theme was about hard work might not pay off the way you expected, but it still can do good unexpectedly. So, I need to think about how that lesson would help other readers in their life. You know what? I'm going to go big. Here we go. This story teaches us to do good. Even if the good we do doesn't help ourselves, it helps others. And that makes the world around us a better place to be. So I went very big. I went text to world. It's going to make the world a better place. But as long as you are telling the reader why this is an important theme for their life, you've nailed it. All right, so you just watched me go through the process of figuring out the theme of a story and the supporting details. I'll break down the steps for you one more time. First, you read the story. Then you think about what topic, what one-word big idea is this mostly about. Then you think, what is the writer trying to teach us about that topic? What's the lesson here? What's the message? That's your theme. After you've got your theme, you start making a plan. If this is the theme, what were the details that helped you know that that was the theme? This is your proof. Finally, when you write your paragraph, you start with the theme and introduce the story. You tell your supporting details in the juicy detail body part. And in the closing sentence, you remind the reader why this theme is important to their life or to the rest of the world. If you need help when you're working on your own version of this, you can always watch this video again. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.